Not live yet. Hey, this is Neil's Han Dynasty. Please like, share, and subscribe. Be kind, helpful, and grateful. Buy some silver, some platinum, and some crystallized osmium. And yeah, let's see what the heck this is about. I know people don't like Wyon, and that's cool. But this is actually a true story.
Where we explore fascinating stories and ideas from various fields. In this episode, we dive into one of nature's strangest secrets, a tiny microbe that eats toxic metals and literally poops pure gold. In the deepest and most toxic corners of the earth, where nothing dares to survive, a bizarre microbe lives which poops gold. Cupriavidus metallidurans, a microscopic metal-loving survivor found in soils enriched with heavy metals. This strange little organism eats them up and excretes tiny nuggets of 24-karat gold. The team behind the discovery from Australia and Germany uncovered how the bacteria uses its natural defense system to deal with toxic heavy metals like gold and copper, and in the process, it triggers a chemical that results in solid gold forming on its surface, thus turning what should kill it into pure, shining metal. Like the gem of an alchemist of nature, a gold factory in its physiological form. Cupriavidus metallidurans has a highly specified metabolism that allows it to survive in a toxic environment. It has evolved complex metal resistance pathways and detoxification mechanisms embedded in its genetic makeup. When exposed to soluble gold ions, which are usually lethal, it excretes enzymes like CoPA and Cuppa, which are part of its metal efflux system. These enzymes help neutralize the toxic compound by reducing them in their inert form. In the case of gold, the ions are reduced and precipitated as nanoparticulates, which are excreted outside the cell. The gold conjuring ability of the Cupriavidus metallidurans could inspire a revolutionary leap in biomimetic mining, offering a sustainable, innovative method compared to the gold extraction that is often toxic and energy-intensive. By mimicking the bacteria's physiology, scientists and engineers could develop bioreactors or engineered microbes capable of extracting gold from e-waste, mine tailings, or low-grade ores. Thus, not only reducing the environmental damage capacity, could also kickstart a bio-extracting industry, where microscopic organisms literally convert waste into wealth in a sustainable manner.
Ain't that just cool? I thought that was cool as hell. We're doing gold. We're going to see what high grade ore looks like. This is you walk over every single day.
Usually imagine something.
This is the geology zone. I've already given him a thumbs up because this is my second attempt at a live stream today.
Dramatic. Massive quartz veins with visible gold laced through the cracks, or even fist-sized nuggets gleaming in the sun. Whilst deposits like this do exist and are incredibly rare, the reality, especially in hard rock gold mining, is a lot more subtle, and often a lot more richer than it first appears. The deposit I've recently opened up is a perfect example of that. There are no visible nuggets, no obvious veins flashing with gold. To the untrained eye, the rock doesn't scream treasure, but the moment I started crushing and testing it, it told a very different story. This is high-grade ore, but not the kind you'd recognize at a glance. The gold here is fine. Extremely fine. We're talking flour gold. Tiny particles. Barely visible without a close look and good lighting. But there's a lot of it. In every handful of rock, there are hundreds, sometimes thousands of tiny to microscopic gold flakes, densely packed throughout the matrix. It's not just rich, it's prolific. This ore is from my new hard rock mine, and I've hit a high-grade section where gold has accumulated in disseminated abundance. Now, fine gold like this is tricky. You won't always see it with the naked eye, but crush it and pan it and suddenly the gold shows itself, glinting and dancing in the pan like someone dumped a pinch of golden glitter into the sand. And it's consistent. That's the key. This isn't a one-off pocket or a fluke piece. This is a zone. Every sample from this section of the deposit has returned gold, and not just trace amounts. I've tested pieces the size of a coin and recovered over 200 visible gold particles after just a basic crush and pan.
Gotta watch 55 seconds to get started.
That's not just promising, that's high grade. But there's a catch. It doesn't conform to gravity. Individual grains are so light and flat they'll float around in the pan. Gold is one of the heaviest metals in the world, but when it reaches a certain micron size, it stops behaving like a heavy metal and starts behaving more like a piece of dust. Surface tension, water flow, and even air bubbles can keep it suspended or wash it away entirely.
And that's where about 3 to 4 years ago, new sluice mat technology was invented that can capture that type of gold, making gold recoverable. Using the techniques and telling you the stuff he's telling you about gold being everywhere, now it's recoverable as of 3 to 4 years ago. That's why I say buy silver, platinum, and crystallized osmium, and not gold, because you can find gold damn near everywhere.
That's why fine gold is so notoriously difficult to recover, and why so much of it was lost in early mining operations. Without proper technique, it simply floats out with the tailings unnoticed. But when you know what you're looking for, and how to process it, you can recover it, even the smallest particles, because while each speck might be tiny, when they occur by the hundreds or thousands in every sample, they add up to serious value. The host rock is exceptionally mineralized throughout. You can see quartz veining, occasional streaks of sulfides, weathered iron staining, even hints of arsenopyrite in the surrounding structures. But the gold doesn't sit neatly in the quartz. It's disseminated, spread through the rock, woven in fine threads, tucked between grains, often bound up with sulfides or locked in oxidized fractures. You have to liberate it, and that's the difference between looking and knowing. Fine gold like this forms in specific conditions. Hydrothermal systems that deposit gold on a tiny, occasionally microscopic scale, sometimes inside sulfide minerals, sometimes along fractures or in altered zones.
What he said just there is anytime you hear on the news if there's an earthquake, like say in Ohio or Maine or Michigan, those are indicators of a fault line, and you can find gold there. And yes, all 3 places I just mentioned were on the East Coast where people aren't looking for gold. But yet, if you know anything about geology and how gold is formed, you would realize that there's more gold on the East Coast than there is on the West Coast in this format.
Over time, weathering can free some of it, but much of it remains trapped in the rock, largely invisible until processed. To the old-timers, this might have been passed over as barren, too subtle, not worth the effort.
And that's where you get all your money from not digging, but using a LiDAR and going over an area, finding out if there was old-timers there that did hard rock mining. You'll be able to tell using LiDAR, and you can go straight to those spots, and get their tailings or rocks like that, look for the right rocks, crush them, and you've got gold, no problem.
But
Thank you, modern technology.
with modern techniques, crushing, roasting, and leaching, you can recover gold from rock like this with surprising efficiency. And when the rock grade's this high, it's more than worth it. And it's not just one rock. This deposit runs along a linear system, multiple exposures, multiple outcrops, and every sample I've tested from this zone returns fine gold. Some of it bound to sulfides, some free milling, all of it recoverable with the right method. But this section of the reef that I've hit is by far the richest accumulation of gold that I've seen yet. And here's...
Anyhow, enough about that one. Let's go to this one here. Ugly rocks hiding gold that you walk over every day. This is from EGO Pro. Ugly rocks hiding gold inside.
They say nature never hides treasure in something beautiful. Sometimes the ugliest, most unassuming rocks conceal the world's most valuable metal, gold.
Did you ever think a blue rock would hold gold?
It doesn't glitter on the surface. It doesn't shine from the cliffside. It hides beneath layers of grime, sharp textures, and a skin so unattractive that most people walk past it without a second glance. But what if I told you? Those rocks you ignore might be your ticket to unimaginable wealth. Welcome to the secret world of the rocks that guard gold. Today we're going to dive deep into one particular rock that's been called ugly, common, and worthless. Yet time and time again, it proves to be the ultimate gold-bearing monster. It's the one that prospectors chase through jungles, deserts, and riverbeds. The one that ancient civilizations recognized, long before we understood its secrets, and the one that could be sitting right beneath your boots. This is the story of the rock that hides gold, and how to find it before anyone else. Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. Most people looking for gold are looking at the wrong rocks.
Yep.
They search for glittering quartz, shiny flakes, and flashy minerals. But real prospectors know gold doesn't advertise itself, not at first. Instead, it partners with rocks that are tough, grimy, and ignored. And one of the most overlooked of them all is iron-stained quartzite and gossan. To understand this rock's role in hiding gold, we have to go underground. Gold isn't just found lying on top of the earth. It comes from deep within the crust, transported by hydrothermal fluids over millions of years. And as those mineral-rich fluids move upward, they deposit gold into veins.
We're really trying to reimagine the way people present and share their ideas with the world.
They
As a
are. They're
startup.
trying real hard.
Veins that are sealed inside rocks that look, well, disgusting. Gossan is a type of oxidized, weathered rock formed when iron sulfides are exposed to air and water. It's rusty, it's reddish-brown. Sometimes it even crumbles like dry cake, and it forms right above gold deposits. But why? Because gossan is a byproduct of something deeper. Sulfide-rich ore bodies, the kind that often contain not just gold, but silver and copper too. When sulfide minerals like pyrite and chalcopyrite oxidize, they leave behind iron oxides and hydroxides, like limonite and goethite, which stain the rock surface red, yellow, or brown. That ugly crust is your biggest clue. Seasoned miners call gossan the iron cap, the surface indicator of treasure below. It may look like nothing, but underneath, it often grades into richer and richer ore. Now here's where it gets more interesting. Gossan often contains boxwork textures, hollow cavities left behind by dissolved sulfide
This is the
minerals.
stuff you look
These
for.
honeycomb-like patterns are like nature's roadmap to gold.
Oh,
If you see
God.
them, take out your hammer.
Yep.
You're in the right place.
Gold to be
Because
tracked.
gossan doesn't look valuable. It's coarse, dull, and rusty. It doesn't sparkle like quartz. It doesn't shine like mica. And it doesn't have the smooth elegance of polished gemstones. But its value is in what it hides. The next time you find a rock with jagged edges, reddish streaks, and a hollow core, don't throw it aside. You might just be looking at a piece of the Earth's most ancient gold vault.
Something you
Let's
throw
talk about
away,
where you can
something
find
look
this
at.
rock. Gossan often appears near fault lines, shear zones,
Fault
and
lines.
hydrothermal vein systems.
Fault
These
lines.
are areas where the
Earthquakes.
Earth's crust has been shattered, reheated, and mineralized. It appears in mountain foothills where erosion exposes old rock desert ridges, where iron stains contrast against pale sands riverbanks, where fragments break off from larger deposits upstream. And here's the trick. Gossan forms on the weathered top of the deposit. So if you see it, gold might be directly beneath your feet. Now let's get even deeper. Gossan isn't the only ugly rock that hides gold. In fact, some of the ugliest, blackest, most oily rocks you'll ever see also point to gold's presence. Enter black shale. This organic-rich sedimentary rock might look like burnt toast, but its carbon content plays a role in concentrating gold.
Aren't they doing oil extracting up in the Northwest and in Canada through shale rock? And they're like fracturing natural gas. That's what they're getting. They're getting natural gas through shale mining. And shale, you can get gold.
From surrounding fluids. Gold loves to bind with organic matter. In some regions, black shale layers act like sponges, soaking up mineral-rich fluids and locking away gold. Black shale is often layered, brittle, and crumbly. But when you break it open and spot sulfide specks or smell that subtle sulfur scent, you're onto something. In parts of Canada and Africa,
You can
black
smell
shale zones
gold.
are directly tied to gold-bearing formations. And just like gossan, they're often ignored by amateur prospectors. And then we come to the next suspect, serpentinite. Greenish,
Green
waxy,
rock
and twisted,
gold.
serpentinite looks like something dredged up from the ocean floor, and sometimes it is. It forms from the alteration of ultramafic rocks deep in the mantle. And although it doesn't carry gold on its own, it's often associated with gold-bearing quartz veins, especially in places like California's Mother Lode. What makes serpentinite special is its tendency to host fault zones, perfect
Yeah,
conduits for
fault
gold-carrying
zones.
fluids. When those fluids find fractures in the rock, they deposit quartz. And within that quartz, microscopic gold.
Yep.
So even though serpentinite looks alien and unattractive, it's a geological signal that tells experienced miners, gold may have passed through here. Let's take a breather. So far, we've learned that ugly rocks like gossan, black shale, and serpentinite often point to gold. These rocks form in environments where gold-carrying fluids concentrate. Their appearance, rusty, black, greenish, is a natural camouflage. But what happens when these rocks break apart and travel? That's when the real hunt begins. Now let's pair that with a second deceiver, iron-stained quartz. At first glance, it may resemble rusted gravel tossed from an old construction site, but the rusty hue is often the result of oxidizing iron sulfides, which can lead miners to nearby gold veins. That reddish-orange stain isn't just dirt. It's the history of hydrothermal fluids escaping and leaving behind more than just color. But gold doesn't always travel alone. In the crust, it hides in the company of unlikely companions. Let's step into the world of schist, another homely, flaky rock, often mistaken for worthless slate. Its banded appearance, shimmering in silvery or bronze reflections, may not catch the eye of a casual hiker. But for a trained prospector, schist is gold's hiding blanket. Its high mica content and layered structure offer perfect fissures for molten quartz to deposit. And if the temperature and pressure align just right, gold settles in, quietly, stubbornly. But what makes these rocks such powerful vaults for gold? It's not about beauty, it's about structure, chemistry, and pressure.
All right, enough about that. Now we're going to go to something fun. Let's see. Here we go. This is going to be cool. Liberal goes back in time to fix the Second Amendment. This is Babylon Bee. This is going to be funny. This is like 3 months old.
Done! James Madison, you've done it again.
Not so fast!
Who are you?
Hi, I'm Brinley. I'm a Democrat from the year 2025, and I'm here to make a few simple changes on the Second Amendment.
Are there flying carriages by then? I've always wanted a flying carriage. That'd be so cool.
No. But we do have crippling depression and 400 new genders. Oh, and you can kill your own baby.
Oh, that's neat. What? No, that's terrible.
We've just come so far as a species. Anyway, so here are a few notes I have for some changes we can make to Amendment number 2.
Okay.
Number 1, you really need to add some clarity there that the Second Amendment only covers muzzle-loading muskets and nothing else.
I'm not sure what you mean, but this amendment is intended to allow Americans to own any firearm.
But what about the really scary ones?
Scary ones?
Yeah, like AR-15s, AR-16s, the ones with the high capacity, the 30 round barrel clips. You know, assault weapons.
Assault weapons? That sounds awesome. Well, I don't know what firearms you have in the future, but the point of the Second Amendment is that an armed citizenry is essential to keeping the government in check and defend our rights.
But those guns are only for the police and the military.
Do you trust your government?
Of course not.
Then why would you want them to have much better guns than you?
Shut up, James Madison! Number 2, you need to add clarifying language that common sense gun laws do not violate the Second Amendment. Okay? I'm sure that's what you really meant, right? But you really need to spell these things out for the Republicans. They're a little slow.
Common sense gun laws?
Yeah, you know, red flag laws where you can take away someone's guns at any time. Background checks, magazine capacity limitations, bans on any type of gun that is too scary. Just common sense stuff.
Does common sense mean something different in the year 2025? Look, when I wrote shall not be infringed, I meant shall not
be subject
be
to common sense gun laws. Okay, great. Glad we're on the same page there, Jamie. Okay, got tons of other notes to go through here, so we can just stay focused. Okay, closing gun show loopholes, banning the shoulder thingy that goes up, making sure guns are only used for hunting, of course, and establishing gun-free zones.
Wait. Gun-free zones.
Yeah. You know, making sure people can't bring guns to schools, churches, hospitals, and so on.
Is there some new technology in your time that can stop a gun from being carried into such places? Some kind of advanced steam-powered force field?
We have a sign.
And does that stop bad people from having guns?
No, but there's a sign.
Look. Your name is Brinley, is it? Yes? Okay. Brinley, the Second Amendment is foundational to the idea of these United States as an independent people. It's the bedrock of our democracy. It's a shield against tyranny. A country not responsible enough to bear arms is not a country worth defending.
Yeah. Counterpoint, guns are scary, and I'm going to make a few changes.
No, stop it. You will stop.
That.
This is
You're
highly
No, give me the
irregular.
feather. I want the feather.
I plucked it this morning. We may disagree on the Second Amendment, but at least we can agree on the First Amendment, freedom of speech. It's good with you, right?
No. Here is the list of notes I have on the First Amendment.
Oh, geez. I need a drink.
TacPack is a monthly subscription box designed for the tactical Second Amendment enthusiasts. TacPack believes that we all have the right to own and use firearms, and they want to equip you to maximize your effectiveness and enjoyment with any firearm you own.
Anyhow, little fun spot here. I've got another one here. A little funny about problems Darth faces every day. This is from Darth Vader's vlogs.
The most advanced tech in the galaxy, but still no decent coffee maker. Oops.
Elevator music's the same in the future.
How the hell do you lose one sock on a goddamn space station? I mean, where does it go? Don't give me that smug little beep. That was one good move, not a Sith prophecy.
Sir, can I ask a personal question?
No. Whoever parked the TIE fighter in my spot, move it. Or I'm force towing it into a sun. Is it too much cape? I mean, it's a lot of cape. But then again, look at that drama. Fuck it. If you're gonna choke people from across the room, might as well look fabulous doing it. This is either the nicest thing Luke's ever done, as far as a gift goes, or he is being sarcastic. Huh. Family is tough. He keeps force choking during team meetings. It's demotivating. Who wrote this? Let's circle back to Alderaan's status. Oh wait, we blew it the fuck up. Moving on.
Isn't it funny how we rule the galaxy, yet still wait for elevators like peasants?
The dark side bends worlds. Making this elevator move without a weight, that's real power. You ever look out into the galaxy and think, what if I just opened a noodle bar on Naboo? Sometimes I take cold showers just to feel something through the armor.
Sir, I have a degree in astroengineering.
And I have a planet-killing laser. We all have our hobbies.
So, big plans this weekend?
Genocide. I would subscribe if I were you. Don't underestimate the power of the dark side. And my force-fried noodles.
That was funny. I figured I'd just bring that to you since there's no one here to watch it anyhow. And let's see what else we got here. Ooh, this is a good one. One of very interest to myself. This is Strange Science. Only has 38 subs. I'm going to give him a thumbs up. I got this because it says, can scientists explain ball lightning? I know what it is. Let's see what scientists say.
Can scientists explain ball lightning? Have you ever heard of ball lightning? This strange
This is AI,
phenomenon has
obviously.
puzzled scientists for years. So, can scientists explain ball lightning? The short answer is that they have not reached a definitive explanation, but they have some intriguing theories. Ball lightning is often seen as glowing, spherical objects that appear during thunderstorms, usually after a lightning strike. These glowing orbs can last from a few seconds to several minutes. They can move slowly, hover in place, or even disappear with a bang. At its core, ball lightning is believed to be a form of plasma. Plasma is a hot, ionized gas made up of charged particles. One popular theory is the electrochemical model. In this model, ball lightning consists of an air plasma surrounded by chemically active layers. When lightning strikes, nitrogen oxidation creates ions that interact with water vapor. This interaction produces aerosols that help contain the plasma, giving it a unique surface tension. This delicate balance might explain why ball lightning is so rare and can sometimes squeeze through small spaces like a liquid. Another theory treats ball lightning as a plasma bubble or plasmoid. This idea suggests that complex interactions of electromagnetic fields and plasma oscillations create these glowing spheres. Observations have shown that the light emitted by ball lightning can vary in intensity. Scientists have found atoms like silicon, calcium, and iron in the spectra of ball lightning. This suggests that lightning vaporizes ground materials, which then become part of the glowing plasma ball. In laboratory settings, researchers have successfully created plasma spheres that resemble ball lightning, often above water surfaces. These experiments support the idea that plasma chemical processes sustain these glowing balls. Some experiments use electrical discharges to generate plasmoids, showing that ball lightning-like objects can form under controlled conditions. However, replicating all the natural behaviors of ball lightning remains a challenge. Practical experiments have also tested how different materials respond when struck by lightning. For instance, silicon wafers, salt water, and wet metals have produced glowing effects similar to ball lightning. This indicates that the interaction of lightning with certain substances on the ground might be key to forming these luminous spheres. Despite these advancements, no single theory fully explains all the features of ball lightning. Its varied colors, sizes, movements, and ability to sometimes pass through walls remains partly mysterious. This invites further quirky experiments and unusual observations that challenge our understanding of atmospheric electricity. From the perspective of weird science, ball lightning is a perfect example of nature's oddities. It combines plasma physics, chemistry, and electromagnetic phenomena in ways that are not easy to explain. Scientists continue to test wild hypotheses and create unusual laboratory setups to capture this fleeting, glowing enigma. So, while we may not have a complete answer yet, the quest to understand ball lightning is far from over.
Interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. And here's some more interesting stuff for you. The reason why the president is a liker of the cryptocurrencies. This here explains partially, in my opinion, why. This is Darkness Breaking News. 45,000 subscribers 9 days ago. Listen closely.
Be ringing the bell?
Well, we're going to be ringing the bell at the NASDAQ talking about all five, but the biggest thing is we got into crypto because we didn't have a choice, right? We were debanked by every major banking institution. The people that 2 weeks before...
The whole Trump family was not allowed to open bank accounts, forcing them into digital currency. Interesting.
Before we were debanked, we could have called and gotten a loan in 5 seconds. They disappeared. We were left high and dry.
When
so we
was
weren't
this?
even, this is basically during the first term, certainly after let's call it January 6th. all the nonsense, it got significantly worse. So we weren't even early crypto guys, but we figured out if they can debank the Trump organization, if they can debank us, who can't they go after? And more importantly, who won't they go after? And so we had to, rather than take our ball home and go cry in a corner, we had to come up with solutions. And the reality is between crypto technology, blockchain technology, so much of what the traditional banking system was made up of didn't make any sense. It's grossly inefficient. It takes forever.
Right.
It's not democratized at all. If you know someone, you can make. We were at the top of the Ponzi scheme. We just didn't even know it. For regular people, it didn't make any sense. So we partnered up with Zach and so many of the greatest guys in the space to really get people to understand what crypto is. And to me, it is absolutely the future of banking. So what we're doing with World Liberty Financial, I think is going to shake up the entire banking system. It is literally the future of finance.
And I know it's going to be exciting for you today in about an hour.
Yeah,
But
pay
Eric, I want to
attention
bring
to
you
this,
to this,
guys.
and all of you. Critics are saying, hey, well, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. The New Yorker, for example, says the number. How much is Trump pocketing off the presidency? Axios. President Trump and his family stand to net $3.4 billion by the end of the second term. David Kirkpatrick reports for the New Yorker in a piece today, the number of why it matters. No U.S. president has monetized the highest off in the land quite like this. Eric, your answer to those headlines.
Brian, it's infuriating. We had nowhere to go. Capital One stripped 300 bank accounts from me. 300 in the middle of the night. They sent us a letter after doing business for
What's up,
20-something years. All your bank accounts for golf courses and condominium buildings and hotels, they're all gone in the middle of the night. I mean, how do you pay your taxes? How do you pay your employees? This happened across the board. It happened with JP Morgan Chase. It happened with Bank of America. It happened with First Republic. And this wasn't just happening to the
Yeah, you
Trumps,
got the
people with a
number
lot
one
of
crowd.
zeros on the end. This was
That's it
happening
going
to
for you.
conservatives all over the country. We didn't have a damn choice. So before my father, won the election, before my father was in office, we started getting into cryptocurrency. The people in cryptocurrency were being.
See, you got to go back about 2.5 minutes. He's talking about during the first Trump administration, all the banks closed all of the Trump Foundation's bank accounts. This in particular gentleman had 300 of his bank accounts closed for different businesses and whatnot. And he's explaining that's why they got into cryptocurrency and why Donald Trump is so big on cryptocurrency.
Debanked, just like Trump was being debanked.
Right.
And you know what? It's become the fastest growing industry anywhere in the world. It's actually removed a lot of the power from the big banks who have weaponized their platforms against the American people, and I could not be more proud to be.
But I don't notice them talking about the hundreds of millions of dollars we had to spend fighting lawfare. That doesn't matter, right? That was all nonsense, right? Russia, you name it. Impeachment 1, hoax 2, 3, 4, 5, infinity. No one talks about that. They weaponized the entire full force of the United States government against our family. And unlike all the other people who'd served as the presidency before, basically since our founding fathers, Trump was the only guy that was actually a businessman before that. Are we supposed to stop running our businesses? Are we supposed to stop doing anything? He's not involved in these things. We are running those businesses as we have. We came up with a solution to a very real problem that not just us, we didn't just have to face it. Hundreds of millions of Americans either face it or are afraid that they're going to face those kind of problems because they don't just simply conform and fall into line with whatever the talking points are or whatever the liberal agenda is that day.
And that's what we're doing with ALTS and World Liberty is we're really trying to democratize the financial system, put power back in the hands of the people instead of, the big boogeyman behind the curtain.
Since I knew you guys before your dad was running, well, I remember talking to you early when your dad was running. I thought, Eric, are you going to do something? Because Jared went in, Ivanka went in, Don, you say, no, I don't think so. So you kept a wall up there. But what do you think about people who say, well, your dad hires David Sachs and they loosen up cryptocurrency rules and set up parallels, and then you guys are in that space?
Crypto is the fastest growing industry worldwide by far, bar none. Everybody in the world, if you look at the Middle East, if you look at all of Asia, if you look at all of South America, they're all running toward cryptocurrency. I mean,
running toward good. I got questions what you just said there. Right now, it might be the fastest growing, but as soon as Trump reclassifies marijuana from class 1 to class 3, all the businesses and money that's going to flow into that industry will far suppress what's going into crypto, in my opinion. That's why I say check out the medical marijuana stocks, because within the next couple of weeks, Trump's going to tell us on national TV that he is going to reschedule marijuana from a class 1 to a class 3, making it medically marijuana nationwide, and those stocks will pump.
we have a financial system, Brian, that's broken. If you want to send a wire at 4:59 on a Friday afternoon, somebody's not going to get it until midday Monday. How is our banking system, 9 to 5 Monday through Friday doesn't make any sense whatsoever. If you want to go get a loan, you want to go buy a house, the bank that you've banked with for 25 years will take 120 days to go through a know your customer report to give you your own money, to be able to borrow against your own. Our banking system is broken. And then that same banking system has gone after 50% of the Americans because they decided to wear a hat that says Make America Great Again. We have to change the financial system. We will change the financial system. World Liberty is going to change the financial system. And honestly, I could not be more proud. And we started this company long before my father was elected, long before he won the election, certainly long before he actually got into politics again. We started this when the New York Times, ironically, was giving him about a 2% chance of re-winning the election as they were throwing the kitchen sink at him.
And we campaigned on it. I mean, we said we were going to do this. I mean, we said we were going to do this because, again, the fear of the American public that they were going to be debanked, that they weren't going to be able to get their credit card payment processed because they're buying a gun. The Second Amendment's kind of a big deal. That was a very real fear. We campaigned that we were going to do these things, that we were going to change these systems, that we were going to try to democratize finance. It's not like we're doing this after the fact. When they said we had zero chance of doing this, we were still already working on this project because it had to get done one way or the other.
Letitia James thought you'd be dividing up the Trump empire a year ago, less a year, and look at how things have dramatically changed, guys.
Interesting. Oh, here's another good thing to invest in. This is your U.S. government telling you what's going to be a big corporation to invest in. Listen to this one. This is Bloomberg podcast. 314,000 subscribers. U.S. Antimony CEO says government wants them to expand. Check out the name of this company. ANTIMONY. The federal government wants them to expand. Again, check out that company. Their stock's going to skyrocket because of the American government pretty much is telling them, grow. When companies grow, their stocks go up. When the number one largest world economy tells a company to grow, they facilitate that company's growth. So this company, in my personal opinion, would be very much worth looking to possibly invest in a quick manner. This is 8 days old, so it might have already jumped up.
Understand there's a significant distinction. Critical minerals, as an antimony producer, we're number one on the DoD's critical mineral list. And the problem is there is no antimony today being mined in either the United States or Canada. It all has to come from international sources. We were all getting, every country in the world was getting most of their antimony from China. China controls 65% of world antimony ore, the raw ore in the ground, and they control 85% of the downstream processing, which is what we do. So fortunately, we're in a position of having a smelter in Montana and one in Mexico, which makes us the only two operating smelters for antimony in North America. And therefore, as you said earlier, we're getting a lot of attention from the U.S. government. They want us to expand our operation. I think I read a report in April. We only have like a 5% supply in our stockpile. So we're trying to ramp up our business to meet this critical need. And as Joe said, there's no question that antimony is needed by the military. It's used predominantly, as he said, in bullets, but it's also used in laser-guided missile, night vision cameras, night vision binoculars, and what have you. So it's a very necessary element for the military.
Hey, Joe, come on back in here. We heard from Gary just now that the antimony mining is not done here in the U.S. or in Canada. Is it possible to do it here in the U.S.? Do we have the material to mine it? It's just not done for environmental reasons. It's not done because we don't have the mineral rights to it, or the companies don't have the mineral rights to it. Like, why has this been moved to China? I understand from a processing perspective why that's happened with rare earths.
Yeah.
But with a critical mineral like antimony, why is that not happening here?
Well, I mean, I think you go to deposits, how good is the deposit, and you can pull it out of the ground, and then who can process it. And this is a question that I have talked about now quite a bit with Gary over the last few months. And, Gary, I think you're better positioned to talk about that to an investor class. I mean, you talked to your investors yesterday on your earnings call, and they asked you about the potential of beginning mining in the United States anytime soon, and you effectively told them probably it's not going to happen anytime soon. So where is kind of the upside here?
We've been working on acquiring leases in both Montana and Alaska. We've acquired close to 30,000 acres of property in Alaska, and we've taken over the mountain area where our smelter is. It used to be an area that we mined some 20 years ago. So it's coming. Right now, we're held up by permitting. We filed permits in Alaska back in May. And so getting back to your question, why isn't this being done? The EPA, the federal government, whether it be the Forest Service, the BLM, native tribes, everybody tried to stop mining in the United States. And unfortunately, our laws allowed that. And that's why you see mining occurring all over the world except the U.S. It's coming back. There's no doubt this is
as simple as a regulation change changes that and makes America mining its own stuff. Now a key economic point. When America stopped mining, we started using other countries' minerals and metals, which means they were depleting their in-ground supply. Now it's going back to where we have to go to our in-ground supply. We have a whole bunch of in-ground supply. We're building the infrastructure to pull it out now, so that way we will most likely be self-sufficient in most minerals and elements, because we've been buying them from other people's reserves and ground reserves and not using our own for several decades, which is actually long-term benefits America, because now we have untapped reserves where most of their reserves are not tapped out, but have already been gravely expanded and taken out of the ground. There's not that much left. So America has an advantage of that. And what he just said was regulations going through the 250 U.S. government agencies, which we should not have, and eliminating some of those agencies makes mining in America a lot easier as well.
Administration is very pro-mining, and we have the resources. There's no question that we can meet the demand for the United States with just our Alaska properties. We have no doubt about that, and that's going to happen soon. I would think in the next 30 days, we'll be able to bring our first loads of antimony by truck from Alaska to our facility in Thompson Falls, Montana.
Gary, how would you describe the conversations now with members of the Trump administration with this government versus your conversations during the Biden administration? How are they different?
This is very key.
We started talking to the department.
This is a key point right here. This determines financial gains in different sectors depending on the POTUS in charge's perspective on them. And he's fixing to give it, and you'll be able to tell by what he says how the government, the POTUS in charge's policies are going to change companies' revenues and bottom line or stock price.
Department of Defense back last September. This was right when China banned all antimony sales to any country in the world. And of course, our Department of Defense was getting all their antimony from China. So it raised a lot of red flags. And we've been negotiating various agreements and contracts with the Department of Defense and the DLA since that period of time. As we mentioned on the call yesterday, we're very close, we think, to announcing some things. It's not done yet, but there's definitely a mindset change addressing your question from the Biden administration to the Trump administration. For instance, we'll have to respond to a request from the DOD, and they say, can you have it to us by Friday? We give it to them Friday, 5 o'clock. And by 8:30 Monday morning, we have a red line response. It's not very often you see the government working over the weekend. So there's no question this is a high ticket item with our existing administration, and there's a fire been lit.
Gary, despite the fact that you're getting a lot more attention from the Trump administration and they seem to be speeding things up, I'd still ask, what is the holdup? And I know this was a big question you got on the call yesterday with investors. They kind of seem to be saying, when are you going to get some sort of announcement from the government? What's going on?
You want ads that drive results. That's why we built Roku Ads Manager. Sign up at ads.roku.com.
What is power? Better question is, how much of it can you handle?
We're in a period where contractual changes are being made. There was an open comment period with respect to the DLA that ended actually yesterday afternoon. So I'm very confident we're near the finish line, but it has taken an inordinate amount of time. And there's been a lot of reasons that I can't really talk about today for that delay. But we have to make sure that whatever contract or whatever agreement we sign with the government is beneficial to our shareholders. And the first drafts were not. And so we had to make sure that we negotiated as best we could to maximize the value for our shareholders, but also give the federal government a fair trade. We pay taxes, we know, and so that was very necessary.
Forgive me if I missed this, but is the agreement that you might be working out with the government akin to what we saw with MP Materials, which has a $400 million equity investment by the Department of Defense into the company? And we know that MP Materials is certainly working specifically in the rare earths materials area. So could it possibly be that the government, DOD, makes an equity investment in you guys as part of an agreement so that you can do what you need to in terms of ramping up either production or your facilities?
So basically, if he says yes, that means the federal government is going to fund this company that's publicly traded. That's why I suggest looking at it as an investment, because if the government backs a company, well, it's going to succeed.
So obviously that's on the table, I think, with us as well as a lot of other companies. I think we're in a little bit unique position in that we have a $450 million market cap. We have our own cash. We have our own capital. We need, more of a big brother than a huge capital investment. Now, as we ramp up this year and do the things that we've told the public we plan on doing and the DOD, I think there's a very good chance in 2026, if we want to do another smelter, if we want to do another project, we also are involved in tungsten and cobalt, two other critical minerals, then those type of opportunities exist. But what we're negotiating.
Critical minerals, another thing to look at.
Today and have been for the last 8 months is something different. It's very positive for our company, but it's not a direct investment by the government.
Gary, I want to kind of bring people into what's at stake here, or at least what is being said is at stake. As you mentioned, the Chinese officials put an export control on antimony, which came well after the germanium and gallium that so many people talk.
See, and this is why I like geopolitics, because you would know a company is going to excel greatly with government backing in geopolitical turmoil between countries, because as this gentleman's saying, China stopped exporting of this one antimony mineral. America needs it. We have it in the ground, as I explained earlier. We just buy up other people's in-ground supply to save ours. So now China put us in a position where we have to fast track doing our own mining, which we have, again, making that stock price go up. So if you hear China stopping the sale of certain things to America that might be critical for our development and infrastructure and whatnot, that's the first indicator you want to look for companies to invest in. And here shortly, as a matter of fact, I'm going to end this right now. Well, no, I'm not going to end it. I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to go to, should give you a little better demonstration of what I'm talking about here. That right there is what I'm talking about. From, I don't know, let's say beginning of 2025, the beginning of this year. That right there is the beginning of the year. What happened there? Now you go back to 2010 and you want to do some investigating, probably around there, February 2011, and investigate why they took that gigantic leap straight up in 4 months. Actually, that's a 4-month chart, believe it or not. From there to there is 4 months, because that's well, actually, okay, the beginning is 3 to 11, The top is 6 to, so 3 months is that little bit. Now you look from here, from 225 to where it's at now. Again, it's a different type of leap. Over here, this one is a straight vertical up. This one's taking stair steps. I don't know much about charts, but I think that's a critical factor in continuing this upward momentum, especially with this government news. Because back here, unless there was government news, which I doubt there was, saying, oh, we're going to fast track your mines. Yeah, back in 2011, no one was even considering that. We were in the middle, or at the recovery part of the 2008, 2009 financial debacle. So, and maybe that's why it went up. But it's already up here. And let's see, this is 9 days ago. So right here, where my cursor is when the government got interested in them. So from that point, at $4.46, whatever, 44682 is when the government gave this report that I'm giving you guys now. And it is currently sitting at 46303 shortly while later. And the government's now going to possibly, now I'm on screen and go back to, the government's possibly going to invest in the company.
Talked about a couple of years ago. Have you guys experienced any of these effects of export controls on antimony from China?
Yes, unfortunately, we have. We were acquiring material from a company out of Australia, and we were taking that material, they're 55-ton container loads, to our smelter in Madero, Mexico. And that this third load that we acquired was transloaded over in China in April. And the Chinese customs confiscated our container, took it off the ship, and held it for 90 days, gave us no reason. All the paperwork was correct. It had been paid for. And we finally had to get the State Department and the White House involved. For some reason, finally, they released it. It showed back up in Australia, did not come to us. They sent it back to Australia, arrived there about 3 or 4 days ago. It's currently on a ship to Mexico now. So from now on, obviously, whoever we buy antimony from, we're putting in our contracts, they cannot stop in China because China did this for whatever reason. We know this company used to sell antimony to China. Maybe they were mad. The fact that it said U.S. antimony on it, maybe.
Or it's economic World War III.
Was ticked them off. I don't know, but they definitely made a statement with what they did.
We're speaking with Gary Evans, Chairman and CEO of United States Antimony Corp. Also with us, U.S. economic statecraft reporter Joe Doe.
Joe Doe.
Gary, a follow-up on that. I mean, what does this really say? I like, should people actually be concerned? I mean, eventually your antimony is getting to you here and at your Mexico location. Are we sounding too many alarm bells on this front?
I don't think so. I doubt in our lifetimes we'll ever see antimony coming out of China again. We know their largest mine was depleted last year.
Ever?
And so ever. I don't think we'll ever see antimony coming out of China.
As I was talking earlier, America's been buying other countries' minerals so that they can mine out their in-ground supply. This gentleman, the CEO of antimony, just agreed with what I said. They're never going to produce any more, which means now instead of us being in a squeeze, they put themselves in a squeeze because they sold their stuff to us and we kept ours in the ground.
China. There is truly a worldwide shortage of this product. It is so difficult for us to find product. That's why we went and started mining it ourselves. There's just
and he's got some in Montana and in Alaska that'll provide enough for America and probably half the world, which means this is common sense would tell you this is a good company to invest in after you do your own research.
Not any supply.
Presidents love to talk about energy independence. It doesn't matter if they're Democrats or Republicans. Do we get to a point where they can talk about antimony independence and we can get 100% of what the U.S. needs from U.S. supplies?
I have no doubt that we can meet all the needs of our government as well as our industrial customers from Canada, the United States, and Mexico. We don't need to go anywhere else.
When will we be able to do that?
In the next 3 to 5 years. It's not going to happen overnight.
You know, in the last few years, you would have said Canada, United States, and Mexico, and I would have thought, okay, that could work.
Now that sounds terrible. From my perspective, what I heard is for the next 3 to 5 years, they're going to have company growth because the government's going to be investing in them. As in earlier in this report, they're going to invest, possibly look to invest 300 to 400 million from the Department of Defense into this company, so they have the funds to be able to do what they need to expand. And then they'll also work on regulation and to make regulations go away or make it easier to get to the metals to where we can be self-sustained. So the 3 to 5 year target is right now. It'll probably be 1 to 3 years after the regulations get knocked out of the way, because once the Department of Defense invests into a company, a lot of things get fast-tracked for them. Another reason why you should look at investing, because over what he considers next 3 to 5 years, that company's going to do nothing but grow.
These countries can all work together, but over the last few months, we've seen trade tensions flare, especially with our neighbors to the north and our neighbors to the south. How does that affect the way you look at the industry and your own business?
No question that, Mexico has a new president. She's very anti-mining. Fortunately, the mines that we have in Mexico are grandfathered, but, there needs to be greater collaboration. Now, the DOD looks at Canada just like it was the United States. So any project we find up there, the DOD likes it and looks at it as a domiciled country.
Yeah,
Great. Is that as a separate country or because they want to take it over?
Well, the 51st state, of course, is what I'm talking about.
No, so you're saying relations between the two nations are comfortable, and despite what we have in the headlines, you're saying that they are working and cooperating because they understand they kind of need each other.
Yeah, well, Canada needs antimony just as bad as the United States needs antimony. And Canada is a very pro-mining country. So that's why we have a lot of activities, like I mentioned, in tungsten and cobalt in Canada.
Gary.
And on his point about Canada as a pro-mining country, a lot of, if you look at the mines that are in Canada, damn near none of them are in the north part of Canada where no one lives, north central part, where a friend of mine who's passed away, God rest his soul, his son spent like damn near a decade up in those areas of Canada working for a drilling company doing core samples for minerals and stuff like that. And this was like 15, 20 years ago, and nothing's come of those mineral samples yet. But then I hear about micronuclear, not small modular, but more importantly, micronuclear, which is, I could probably fit one in this room I'm in. You get one of those producing power, you don't need no infrastructure. You don't need no roads. You helicopter in everything or plane everything in because it's snowy and you can bring a snow plane in. You drop off a micronuclear reactor, all your equipment. You got instant mining exactly where you know those resources are. And I think mining in Canada has been waiting for micronuclear to come around so that they can have access to power for the northern part of their country where they have no infrastructure, no electricity, no roads, none of this other stuff. A lot of snow, so you can land snow planes. You can we bring in tanks on snow planes, so you can bring in a lot of equipment on snow planes. Enough to start a mine? Yes, a lot more than enough. So you bring in your power source, micronuclear energy source, and you start mining. So I believe micronuclear energy companies here in the next 2 to 3 years, well, actually now for the next 5 years, are going to be a good thing to invest in, as well as mining companies that have. And you can research this, who has the mining rights in those areas, find out what the mining rights are for, and pre-invest in that company. This is not financial advice. This is common sense, good advice.
These conversations you have with defense officials, how dire are they indicating to you that the antimony shortage is for them?
When you see the announcements we'll be making, you'll understand it's pretty dire.
Can you give us?
We have the lowest. Yeah. We have the lowest amount of antimony supplies in the inventory for our government since World War II. You got to remember, we're funding Israel, we're funding Ukraine, and we've dwindled our supplies. And at the same time, China cut us off. So it's a double-edged sword. People are waking up that, hey, we have a problem.
And that's a perfect investment scenario as well. Not financial advice, good advice. Let's see. Got one last video. This is obviously from TED Talks. They need no introduction. Where does gold come from? By David Looney. Is he a loony or not?
In medieval times, alchemists tried to achieve the seemingly impossible. They wanted to transform lowly lead into gleaming gold. History portrays these people as aged eccentrics, but if only they'd known that their dreams were actually achievable. Indeed, today we can manufacture gold on Earth, thanks to modern inventions that those medieval alchemists missed by a few centuries. But to understand how this precious metal became embedded in our planet to start with, we have to gaze upwards at the stars. Gold is extraterrestrial.
Yes,
Instead
it is.
of arising from the planet's rocky crust, it was actually cooked up in space and is present on Earth because of cataclysmic stellar explosions called supernovae.
I've done videos on that. You guys
Stars
should
are
know this
mostly
stuff.
made up of hydrogen, the simplest and lightest element. The enormous gravitational pressure of so much material compresses and triggers nuclear fusion in the star's core. This process releases energy from the hydrogen, making the star shine. Over many millions of years, fusion transforms hydrogen into heavier elements, helium, carbon, and oxygen, burning subsequent elements faster and faster to reach iron and nickel. However, at that point, nuclear fusion no longer releases enough energy, and the pressure from the core peters out. The outer layers collapse into the center, and bouncing back from this sudden injection of energy, the star explodes, forming a supernova. The extreme pressure of a collapsing star is so high that subatomic protons and electrons are forced together in the core, forming neutrons. Neutrons have no repelling electric charge, so they're easily captured by the iron group elements. Multiple neutron captures enable the formation of heavier elements that a star under normal circumstances can't form, from silver to gold, past lead, and on to uranium. In extreme contrast to the million-year transformation of hydrogen to helium, the creation of the heaviest elements in a supernova takes place in only seconds. But what becomes of the gold after the explosion? The expanding supernova shockwave propels its elemental debris through the interstellar medium, triggering a swirling dance of gas and dust that condenses into new stars and planets. Earth's gold was likely delivered this way before being kneaded into veins by geothermal activity. Billions of years later, we now extract this precious product by mining it, an expensive process that's compounded by gold's rarity. In fact, all of the gold that we've mined in history could be piled into just 3 Olympic-sized swimming pools, although this represents a lot of mass because gold is about 20 times denser than water. So, can we produce more of this coveted commodity? Actually, yes. Using particle accelerators, we can mimic the complex nuclear reactions that create gold in stars. But these machines can only construct gold atom by atom. So it would take almost the age of the universe to produce 1 gram, at a cost vastly exceeding the current value of gold.
But it would raise the gold
So that's
price.
not a very good solution. But if we were to reach a hypothetical point where we'd mined all of the Earth's buried gold, there are other places we could look. The ocean holds an estimated 20 million tons of dissolved gold, but at extremely minuscule concentrations, making its recovery too costly at present. Perhaps one day we'll see gold rushes to tap the mineral wealth of the other planets of our solar system. And who knows?
First off, 2 things. Before they hit the ocean, they're going to do, earlier in this podcast, I told you about the micro gold and how to get a hold of it and find it and whatnot. That's going to be one way. And also right now we are already space mining for platinum, because as shortage as we have of that one mineral that the guy was anaradimite or whatever it was, we're even shorter on platinum on this planet.
maybe some future supernova will occur close enough to shower us with its treasure, and hopefully not eradicate all life on.
Oh, but by the way, it's amazing he mentioned maybe a supernova will splatter us with new gold and platinum. Well, it's amazing because I've been doing videos on Betelgeuse going supernova and how I will be grabbing platinum from the air. Everyone laughs at me. Okay, if you got a good enough net, you can grab platinum from the air if that thing goes supernova, which they're telling us it's going to, which means new deposits on a micro level of gold and platinum will be placed on our planet. Once that light hits us, that means those minerals have already hit us as well because they travel at the speed of light.
Earth in the process.
And there you go. How did you like that? Oh yeah, it takes like 1,000 years to get for that light to hit us, which also the minerals that are going with it. Because supernova, they just explained how it happens. I've done a couple of videos, not nearly as illustrated as that one, but basically I've done a lot of videos saying the same thing. And if any person or agency was intelligent enough to get the technology to where you could grab those particulates from space, all you need to do is come up with a space net, and you could, I don't know the math or economics if it would be enough of it, but you could actually just throw up a space net and capture that gold and platinum if you had an idea of when the light from Betelgeuse or the elements and minerals from Betelgeuse along with the light. Oh, is it 600 years? Okay, yeah, 600 years. I knew it was longer than I'm going to be here, unless it happens in the next 20 years, which is feasible. It is very feasible. It'll happen in the next 20 years. But yeah, you stick up a good net and you can grab a lot of those minerals because like they said, and you don't think it's going to be a lot. Let me tell you this. You just saw the program. He explained that's how he believes gold got put on this planet, is through that creation format. So if we're hitting the light of a supernova and all that stuff, we're going to get 10-15% of the gold that was on this planet deposited on this, well, maybe 5% of the gold that was on this planet and platinum redeposited on this planet when that supernovae light and all the minerals that are coming with it hit us. So theoretically, to have a fine particulate grabbing net to scoop that up from outside the planet, let it hit the planet so it deposits on the planet, and then, oh, here's an idea, the moon. Wonder how many times the moon has seen a supernova on the dark side of the moon, and all those elements and minerals got deposited. I actually was going to do a show. There's this one spot in space. They say it's very chaotic with magnetic fluxes, with all kinds of crazy shit because of so many supernovas that went off, and all the waves of the supernova have congealed in this one space in the universe. So it's like 6 or 7 supernovas, all their waves going in different directions. All of them at one point in time are going to hit together sequentially, all 6 together. At different point in times, 2 or 3 of them will collide with each other as far as the force of all that they're spewing out from the supernova explosion. And I imagine there's going to probably be a nice, very mineral-rich planet created where they discovered that. But I didn't do a show on it because I didn't think too many people would be interested in 5,000 years of gold mine in space. But anyhow, been going for 1 hour and 10 minutes. I appreciate everyone for showing up. I'm going to cut this off. Let me see here. Yeah, okay, we already showed that one. Yeah, nope, showed them all. Ain't got nothing else to show. So, yeah, yesterday I had a better show, but YouTube cut me off. I was going to show where Russia, and I had a video for it, is making 1,000 ounces, or digging up 1,000 ounces of gold a day in Siberia. But I couldn't refine that video. But anyhow, you guys have a great night, and I will come at you. What day is this? Thursday? Friday? Friday. By Sunday, I'll come at you with another live stream. You guys have a great weekend. Bye-bye. Peace. Peace out.